Hello everybody, today I brought this big and cherry books and some pinky. Are you like it? The name is My Sweetest Fairy Story. Ooh, so fun. And I look it's so cherry because look at this. Little fairies have a very big cherry on top and many other cherries around her cake. Oh, what's this say? Scratch here. Scratch? Oh no, I can't scratch. It made out of paper. And I'm trying to tear it, but I'm scared about the pictures and it will break, so I don't scratch it anymore. But I like the cherry of it. Wow! I like all of these parts. It's so beautiful. I think this book will not long. My Sweetest Fairy Story. Wow! That cake is so big. Aww. Is this a scratching board? I can't scratch anything. It was the day of a grand fairy baking competition, and Petal wanted to bake the prettiest cake in all a sparkling forest. Petal's spells always seem to go wrong. So instead of using magic, she decides to make a cake all by herself. First, she baked layers of vanilla sponge. Vanilla, I really love it. I think that is putting the cream too much. Petals? Fairies petals? Can you decorate this? It's too much of cream. You can use this one to make it nicer. Of course. Once a cake was baked, Petal makes a big bowl of pink vanilla icing and poured it on top with a splodge. Thought Petal. Vanilla just isn't very exciting. Maybe I should find something to add to it. Then she had a wonderful idea. I used some strawberries from the forest. Oh yes. Strawberries make this cake prettier and yummier, and I like strawberries. Some strawberries are sweet. Some strawberries are sour. Strawberries are sour because it's not red. It's a little bit of green, so it's not sweet. When it is red like this, her fairy's hair, so it will be sweet. Fairy's Petal flew as fast as her wings would carry her to the strawberry patch. No one else knows about the lovely, juicy strawberries that grow at the edge of the forest. She thought to herself. When Petal arrived at the patch, he gasped with surprise. What surprise would be? I didn't know. What? This fairy had lots and lots of strawberries, and she gave her petals just one strawberry? She has lots and lots of strawberries, and she picked up all the strawberries in this forest. Poor Petals. The strawberries were nearly gone. Fairies Rosa, oh, this is Rosa, was fluttering nearby with 2 baskets filled high with yummy strawberries. Sorry for taking all these, Petal, said Rosa shyly. I need them to make my special strawberry tarts for a baking competition. I hope you don't mind. Aww, her face looked really sad. Petal decides to collect lemons from the trees on Daisy Hill instead. But by the time she got there, Pixie, Luna, and her brothers and sisters have already picked them all. We are making fizzy lemon cupcakes for the baking competitions, said Luna. Sorry, Petals. Aww. Our pixels have picked our lemons tree. How did they can climb up tree? I didn't know how to climb. I just climbed up to a branch to here or here, but I cannot go on top of a tree, so I am scared because I don't want to fall in it and took out one of my teeth. Grandma has an orange tree outside her cottage, thought Petal. I could use those instead. Petal fluttered to Grandma's cottage, but Grandma has already given the orange to her neighbor, Fairy Sementine is entering the competition too, said Grandma. She's making an orange drizzle cake. Orange drizzle cake? I think it will taste so delicious. I think you like it, though. What are she doing? She's making a big splashy. Ooh, is this a frosting on mud? I think it's not a mud. Mud did not go to that pretty pinky cakes, aren't you? Petal fluttered home sadly with an empty basket. How would she make her vanilla cake more exciting now? Maybe I could use a little bit of magic to make it more special, she thought. Petal got her wand and concentrating hard, cast a spell to make some sparkly frosting. Oh yes, this is a frosting. Ugh, it looks like a mud more. Splosh! Frosting came flying out of Petal's wand. She tried her hardest to control the sparkly swirls, but they splashed over the table, and the cake is big squids. Oh no, cried Petal. Her cake looked even worse now than it had done before. Ew, it looked like a worm going up to her cakes, but not nearly that. When they say the frosting fly in the knots, she to put the frosting. Fly up to the sky. Not like that. Fruit do not fly. But some fruit fly. Do you know what? Birds. Birds we can eat too. But when we're living in a fruit and we cannot eat it. Some wild animal can eat birds too. The frost cake looked like so much of a mess. What Petal want to cry? No time to cry, Petal. You're not a baby. She tried just... I didn't know how to read that. Do you know? I didn't know. To think something else that her cake could be decorated with. It has to be something wonderful and sparkly so that the jugs won't notice the messy icing. Ew, look at the holes. The holes make the cake more ugly. Ew. I know. I could use glittery fairy dust, says Petal. She grabbed a jar and tipped it over the cake. To Petal's surprise, the sparkle started to whiz and swoosh through the sponge. Petal realized that she had grabbed a jar of mini shooting stars by mistake. Oh, did the star fly? I didn't know. Did a star living? It's a fruit. Why can it fly? Maybe it can just fly because it's in fairies. But this is not genuine. Now, Petal's cake was covered in big holes, where the shooting stars that whizzed their way through it. I've got to try something else, said Petal, swishing her wand all over the place in the panic. Maybe I could make some beautiful sugar butterflies. Is that made from sugar? Can we eat it, Petals? And I love eating that sugar pretty butterfly. I wish she can make the cake into this cake. It's so beautiful and yummy. Well, Petals cast the magic spell, thinking that butterflies would cover up the missing chunks and the messy frosting. Suddenly, hundreds of butterflies appeared, but instead of settling on the cake, they fluttered up into the air and right out of Petal's open window. Is that living? Is the fruit living? No way, when we bake it, it cannot moving because it's not a living, okay? Come back, cried Petal, chasing the butterflies outside. Oh, I should never have used magic on my cake. Petal was so upset that she didn't look where she was going. She flew straight into a tree trunk with a thump. Then something fell from the tree right into Petal's head. Cherries? I think cherries don't have a tree like this. But it's just in this book. But in real, cherries just like these flowers because it's too low. Petal looks down at the grass and saw a shiny red cherry. Is cherry made from gold? Why did it say shiny? Then she looked up and gasped. The whole tree has covered in the most delicious looking cherries, perfect to make a whole new cake with. Giggles Petal. She gathered up lots of cherries and flew back to her kitchen. Ooh! Now she is happy again. So fun! Oh, why did have a deer and a rabbit come to her house? Maybe that smell is too good. Petal didn't have long to make her cherry cake. The baking competition would be starting in no time at all. She threw her old cake into a garden for the birds to eat. Then she whizzed and whisked up some new I don't know this word too. Do you know? I always didn't know how to read until she had a brand new batch of cake mixture. Ooh, what a lot of cherries. I want to ask her a question. How do you take a really big cherry like this? It's big like her head. But in real, cherry just not big like your head. Cherry's just big like your eyes. Maybe that's, but I don't know what the size is. Petal chopped up by the juicy cherries and whirled them into some sugary icing. I hope this works, said Petal, feeling very nervous as the first layer of sponge baked. But there was no need to worry. The cherry cake smelled so delicious that animals from all around came to see what it was. As I thought, the animals come because they smell something really good. Oh, let's see the sizes here. It's nearly big as your head, Petal. When Petal's cherry cake was baked, she built it up into a tower with fruity cherry cream between the sponge and lots of sticky cherry frosting on top. Then she placed cherries all around the edge. The cake looked wonderful and Petal felt very proud. I think she will have a really heavy cake. In fact, Petal was feeling so content that she decides to try one last magic spell. She swished her sparkly star-shaped wand over one of the cherries. Swoosh! Suddenly, the cherry was enormous. Perfect, giggles Petal, carefully placing the giant cherry on top of her cake. Ooh, this will be really heavy cake. Oh, I think this book is really short, but look at it. It's really long though. Petal checked the time and gasped. The Grand Fairy baking competition was about to begin. She grabbed a cherry cake and fled as fast as she could across the flower fields. The cake whipped and wove as Petal flew into the mercury with all of the other contents. So many delicious cake. I look, it's so delicious. I will say for you, her name is Petal because her dress looks like a petal. That is her name was. I have a question to Petal. Where's your parents, Mom and Dad? I just see your grandma. Everyone places their cakes next to one another along the jugging table. Petal looked at everyone else's cake and felt worried. My cake doesn't look very nice compared to cementine, orange dessert cake, and rosa strawberry tarts. She thought sadly. The Pixel's cupcake looks so sparkly and yummy too. You look yummy for more than that cupcake because your cherry's so shiny and pretty. And yummy too. The fairy jokes taste the different cakes. When they reached Petal, she handed them each a big gooey slice of sticky cherry cake. Petal made sure every jug got a whole cherry on their plates too. As they each taste Petal's cake, the judge stopped and looked at one another in surprise. Maybe it tastes really yum. This cake is delicious, cried one of the judges. What spell did you use it to bake it, Petal? Yes, you must tell us which charms you use, said another excitedly. Petal giggles. Well, I only used one spell to make a giant cherry. All of my other spells keep going wrong, so I baked the cake from scratch instead. Of course. It's so shiny gold. It was a very big surprise for Petals. Soon the judges were ready to announce the winner of Grand Fairy Baking Competitions. Our winner today is Fairy who worked the hardest out of everyone, said the head judge. Petal, your cherry cake, made without magic, has won this prize. Petal could believe her eyes as she was handed a lovely cupcake truffle. It's so beautiful. I want to grab it. Well done, Petal, cried everyone with a big cheer. All the fairies were so happy that Petal had won this prize, even though she didn't get to use any strawberries, orange, or lemons. Her cherry cake was so delicious that the fairies all agreed baking really was better without any magic at all. Well done! You're so good at your cakes. And yummies. Oh, it have more. My sweetest princess story? Oh, but I think the main idea will be lots and lots of long too. Well, do you want to hear it? Maybe yes. First, Petals want to use some cakes for the competitions. She makes a cakes. She goes into the gardens and sees some strawberries tree, but it don't have any strawberries in the tree. Rosa picked all of them. And when Petal goes to the lemon tree place, our lemons have nearly gone because the pixels, Luna and her brothers and sister picked all of them. And then she so sadly, she goes to her grandma's gardens. She sees grandma with an orange tree. It just have 2 orange in a tree. So Petals is really sad. Petal go to home. She thinks and thinks. She makes some cakes. She make cakes that is have icing vanilla on it, and she put some frosting. So that it looks like wiggly worms on her cakes. Ugh. And then she takes some sparkly in a jar. She grab it up. She spark in it. So all the stars and glitters make many holes, and then of a sponge, and then it looks like a cheese. So Petals wants to have something make it specially. She puts some sugary butterflies on it. She thinks the butterfly will cover the holes, but the problem is some butterflies go out of her windows. So she go out. She don't look where she going, and Petals says, "Come back." Cries Petals. So she go to a big tree with a big thumb. Thumb because some cherries falls on her head. She look in the grass. She sees some very shiny strawberries. She look up and gasps, and she sees many of the cherries, shiny cherries, red cherries, and she pick all up. She make the cakes. She puts some frosting, sticky frosting, vanilla, and she takes any of the cherries in the tree. So she came back home. She used some cherries to decorate the cake. So she have many of cherries in her cakes like this. So when she go to the competitions, she go inside, puts her cakes in the table. She thinks her cakes is not nice, but when the prize, everyone can eat her cakes, and the judge says this cake is so delicious, and the judge give her a big surprise, and so shiny. The end. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.